Hi, there's been a lot of videos about interviews on this channel lately, but every interview is different, and how you manage to make an interview great really depends on your workflow on set.
So today we're doing a project for TBD, which is a British London-based company actually, and we're filming for a company called Yara. Just doing a simple interview setup and some B-rolls. And we have Marcus with us. Say hi to Marcus. You have to film yourself if you're able to.
Hello.
And Marcus is helping us with behind the scenes and is also making sure everything runs smoothly.
So this is my first time having a proper behind the scenes photographer with me on the shoot, which was great. Marcus is a really good filmmaker, videographer, and having him with me was very important to the final results, and it made me realize how important it is to have someone to chat with during the shoot to kind of discuss what would be the good thing or the right thing to do here and what's good, what is bad. So on this shoot, when we first got there, obviously I had a plan for the lighting and the cameras, but what I did not know was how the room would be because we did not get information about this beforehand. And as soon as we got there, I realized that using the windows as a background was a bad idea because it would just be too overexposed and it just did not look very nice on the outside of the windows. So quickly I realized that we needed to use this kitchen kind of thing in the background, which would give us some nice cute little backlights it was just the practical lights in the kitchen, but they would work as backlights. Because this company is working with fertilizing, we obviously needed some plants. We were supposed to do this in a greenhouse, we ended up in this kitchen meeting area, and obviously that is not the same. So adding some plants to the background was necessary, and suddenly we had a much better background than what we had from the beginning.
Like, this is why you should have an interior designer on set. Because sometimes what is messy for us here looks nice on the camera. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Like the wood behind us is pretty nice.
What is
It works with at least it looks okay in the frame, I think.
Since this was a job for an external company, we were just handing over the files to them after. It was important for the director of the project to be a part of this, so I needed to have a meeting with him.
Okay, well then they are preparing a bit, so I'll just leave you on the call. All good?
Awesome. All good.
Okay, cool. See you later.
Bye.
So he will still be on the call because he's directing the whole thing from England, and we'll do our job here.
So as soon as we had the background all figured out, it was all about figuring out what kind of gear to use in this situation, how to light it, and obviously how to make sure the audio was good.
So the gear that we're using is the FX3 with the 70-200, which is great for a B-cam, using this to get close up on our subject. Doing the FX6 with the 50mm, probably doing a pretty low aperture value because we're far away from the subject, so we'll get that crispy depth in frame. Shooting with the Aputure Lightdome 300X on this one, and using the Sennheiser, my favorite microphone. Using this to get some more shadow on our subject's face. And then we have decorated with some nice plants in the background just to make it look more like the client's kind of field. And I guess that's about it. Oh yeah, we're also gonna put this slab on our subject. I prefer this one 10 out of 10 times, but backup and another backup. Backups for audio is important.
Oh, I actually just finished this, but I realized that I should put this somewhere in the middle of the video. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm putting a lot of effort into this. It would be great if you subscribed and just gave me some credit for what I'm doing. Not that I need it, but it would be fun. Okay, let's jump back into it. I always prefer using the 50mm as my A camera lens because it just looks good. I get a blurry background like this bokeh. But on the B cam, I really like using the 70-200mm because it is nice to zoom in on the subject and get two very different focal lengths. Focal lengths. Anyways, this always takes longer than you think, and after setting up all this, we were all ready to go, but then we faced an issue with the audio. I have to say that after miking up people for several years, I realized that nothing beats the boom microphone when you are doing an interview like this. Why? Because the audio is just much better. I don't really like the audio that I'm getting from my lab, and it might be that I'm doing it wrong, but it just does not sound as, I guess, good. It just does not sound as good. That's the word I was looking for, but no. So I think that if you can use your shotgun microphone, that is the best solution. It will give you the best audio. But in some cases, there might be something keeping you from doing that. A couple of days before, I was filming Magnus up in his sit-ski for Red Bull. And in that case, I was actually not able to get great audio from the shotgun microphone because of all the wind. So then I needed to have the lav on the inside, and then it did the trick. But then again, this was a social media asset. The project we were filming for in this case was more of a commercial, like high-end production, and then the audio needs to be better. So we ended up using the shotgun microphone, but also having the lav as a little backup. But it was actually on her chest, so one of her female colleagues helped us out. And it did not work great. I would say the audio was really bad. But I also realized during the interview with my headphones on that the audio from the shotgun microphone was great. So we didn't really have to worry about it at all. So before even starting an interview, I find it very important to get to know the person you're interviewing. Like obviously the questions were already made by the company we were working for, and she had prepared them, so I didn't need to prep her on the questions, but just getting to know her so she feels like she knows me better and that she can feel comfortable in front of the camera. That is very important. If your subject is not comfortable, you will not get a good interview. Which also leads me to another thing, which is actually neglected, I would say. Like, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but how engaging you are as the person interviewing or conducting the interview it's imperative. Because if you're sitting there and you look like you're having the worst time ever, the energy that you get from the subject you're interviewing will be bad. It will not be good. So I'm trying to keep my mood up, smile, give her energy, and follow along the conversation as I would do in a normal conversation. And I feel like this will kind of enhance or make the person I'm interviewing look better, come off better, and have a better energy in general. So remember, keep this energy up, smile, make sure the person that you're talking to reflects your energy, because energy and mood, energy at least, is very easily reflected.
I think we can just do it here. That's the easiest. I guess it makes sense with the temperature too.
So after the interview, we just did some easy B-roll shots, which in this case was just kind of showing her doing her job, playing around with some plants, talking to her colleague, looking out, having the logo in the background. Easy things that are kind of relevant. They might not even use those because they have a lot of other B-roll shots that they can put in there, but it's still nice to have more shots than you need rather than less shots than you need. I hope that you found this interesting. I do believe that you can make it this simple. So as you can see, you can do a pretty high-end production job with just one light. The only thing you need is most likely 2 cameras, because having 2 cameras is that is essential to a production like this, just cutting back and forth because of the cut, but also just to make it more interesting and not as boring. At least that's my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this, and until the next one.